Howdy, everybody. Welcome to Liberty Call. Today is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. Hope you're having a fantastical day out there in the interwebs. It's kind of gloomy and rainy here today. We got a weather system coming through, which is going to bring some cool weather. So I think our highs here coming up in the next few days are going to be like in the 60s. So that means cold at night. So close your windows. Anyways, hope you're having a good day out there. And looks like the markets were kind of in a muted mood. The Dow was in the red most of the day, finished barely in the red. And I guess everyone's just sitting around right now waiting for the Fed meeting to come to a close tomorrow and see what Chairman Powell's going to, I imagine he's going to lower rates by 0.25%. I wouldn't be shocked if they did, 0.5%. But, personally, we've been getting two stories, from, the administration and, everyone else on TV, everything's fine. Economy's great, blah, 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 best ever. And, you look at the reports, where they drill down into the underneath things. And, there's a lot of aspects of the economy which have been in contraction for a year, 2 years. The yield curve was inverted for 2 years. So there's a lot of things you could point to and say, this is not good. So, but if the things are as good as they say, then why do we got to lower rates? And, if things are as bad as they could be, we probably should have lowered rates already. So, it's back and forth. All right, well, let's go. Well, I'm sorry. Before we get started, if you could do me a favor, give me some thumbs up, a like, share, subscribe, a follow, and press the notification bell. All right, now let's get into the numbers for today. Dow Jones finished in the red, down 0.04, 15 points, closed at 41,606. S&P 500 up 0.03, 1 point, closed at 56.34. NASDAQ up 0.2, 34 points, closed at 17,626. The VIX was up 2.74% today. It's at 1761. Canada down a tenth. Brazil down 0.12, and Mexico up 0.49%. In Europe, Germany was up 0.5%, the UK up 0.38%, France up 0.51%, the Netherlands also up 0.51%, Spain up 1.06%, Italy up 0.63%, Switzerland up 0.3%, and Portugal up 0.41%. Russian exchanges both in the green again today. The MOX up 1.06%, the RTSI up 0.75%. And the Asian markets, the Nikkei was down 1.03%, Australia up 0.24%, New Zealand up 0.33%. In China, the Shanghai was down 0.48%, the Shenzhen let's put the brakes on. Looks like the Chinese markets have not been open since the 13th, so belay my last. The only market in China that appears to have been open was the Hang Seng. It was up 1.37%. And the Taiwan weighted was, when it closed on the 16th, was up 0.42%. All right. My apologies. I'm reading fast and don't always pay attention to over on the side. All right, let's get to the market recap. U.S. stocks flat as traders brace for Fed's rate decision. U.S. stocks closed almost flat on Tuesday, despite stronger than expected retail sales data for August. Retail sales increased by 0.1% compared to the expected 0.2% decrease following a revised 1.1% rise in July. This growth helped alleviate concerns about a sharp economic slowdown, with the retail sector resilient, offering hope for the overall economy. The data came as the Federal Reserve began its two-day policy-setting meeting, where it is widely expected to cut interest rates. Traders priced in a 68% chance of a 50 basis point cut and a 32% chance of a 25 basis point cut. Because again, lowering interest rates 0.25% or 0.5%, that is going to do everything to save the economy. I mean, that's all we have to do is just lower rates just a smidge. All right. Wall Street remained volatile ahead of the Fed's decision, while with investors awaiting Fed Chair Jerome Powell's comments for further guidance on future rate cuts. In the corporate sector, Intel's stock surged 2.7% after announcing plans to spin off its foundry business and partially sell its stake in Altera. This strategic move allows Intel's foundry unit to raise external capital. Intel also announced a deal to make custom chips for Amazon Web Services. Microsoft stock rose 0.8% after the company unveiled a $60 billion share buyback program and raised its dividend by 10%. Meanwhile, crude prices continued to climb as Hurricane Francine disrupted U.S. oil production. Brent rose 1.5% to 73.85 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate increased 1.6% to 70.12 cents per barrel, with more than 12% of U.S. crude output still offline. All right, so that's the day in the markets. Let's dive into some of this data here. First, starting out with August retail sales. This report comes from First Trust. Mr. Nate Guernsey, economic analyst, put it together. See what Nate had to say. Retail sales in the U.S. rose unexpectedly in August, edging up 0.1% compared to the expected 0.2% decline. This increase was primarily driven by a 1.4% gain in non-store retailers, such as online and mail order sales. However, the overall report showed weakness, with only 5 out of 13 major categories experiencing growth. Auto sales fell by 0.1%, and gas stations saw a 1.2% decline due to lower fuel prices in August. Stripping out autos, gas, and building materials, core retail sales rose 0.2% in August. Core sales are crucial for estimating GDP and have grown at a 4.4% annualized rate in the third quarter, largely supported by online purchases, which have surged by 13.5% over the past 3 months. However, the service sector is showing signs of slowing. Sales at restaurants and bars were unchanged in August and have only increased by 2.7% over the past year. Overall, retail sales have risen 2.1% in the past year, but inflation-adjusted real retail sales are down 0.4% over the same period, signaling stagnation since peaking in 2021. These trends reflect the impact of tighter monetary policy and a declining money supply, which are now weighing on the U.S. economy. All right. So again, top line looks pretty good, but if you drill down a little further into it, like I said in there, only 5 of the 13 subcategories are actually showing any real growth right now. All right. Next up, August industrial production and capacity utilization, also from First Trust. This one was put together by Bryce Gill. Industrial production in August exceeded expectations with a 0.2% gain despite downward revisions from previous months. The manufacturing sector was the primary driver of this growth, rising by 0.9%, largely due to a 9.8% surge in the volatile auto sector, marking the largest monthly gain since 2021 after an 8.9% decline the previous month. Non-auto manufacturing, seen as core of industrial production, posted a smaller 0.3% increase. High-tech equipment production led this core measure, rising 1.8%, driven by investment in artificial intelligence and reshoring of semiconductor production. High-tech manufacturing has grown at a 12.9% annualized rate over the past 6 months and 9.1% over the past year, the fastest growing among major categories. The mining sector also saw gains in August, rising 0.8% due to increased production of oil and gas, new well drilling, and mineral extraction. Meanwhile, the utility sector declined by 0.1% as its performance is often weather dependent. On the housing front, the National Association of Home Builders Housing Index, which measures home builder sentiment, rose to 41 in September, up from 39 in August. This marks the first increase in 6 months as builders anticipate potential Fed rate cuts during the upcoming FOMC meeting. So again, that rate cut's going to make a huge difference in the home building sector. I doubt it. All right. Last up, this one comes from the Mises Institute. It's titled Privatize Federal Lands, which I think in here it says that the federal government owns, I think like 28% of land in America, which, that's a lot. And the federal government shouldn't own anything. The states, personally, I think the states can own land, but, the federal government is just a confederation of the 50 states, and it should own nothing other than DC. All right, let's get into this. Where's my notes? Here we go. The U.S. Homestead Act of 1862, based on John Locke's property rights theory, allowed citizens to claim undeveloped federal land by settling and cultivating it. While the act incentivized westward expansion, it also led to hardships, conflicts with Native American tribes, and ineffective land use. Many settlers failed to acquire title due to the difficult living conditions, and the cultivation requirements distorted land use. In 2016, Russia introduced a similar law for its Far East region, offering lands to citizens who develop and live on it for 5 years. However, the program has seen slow uptake due to the region's remoteness and lack of infrastructure. I think that's like Siberia. Today, the U.S. faces a housing crisis, and both political parties have expressed interest in opening federal lands for housing. The federal government owns 640 million acres, of which a significant portion is managed by the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, not the kind of go and burn down, poor parts of cities. And the U.S. Forest Service could be transferred to private citizens. A modernized version of the Homestead Act could eliminate ineffective requirements and encourage business startups with technology advancements. Previously difficult to settle areas now have more potential for success. This approach could alleviate housing shortages and improve land management, offering a better alternative than President Biden's limited and government-focused land sales strategy. Yeah, they point to the fact in the article that there's a housing crisis. Well, if you deported the 50 million illegals in the country, I think that would free up a lot of housing, personally. I don't think the people who are the landlords of those people will be real happy, because a lot of them are getting a lot of cash from the federal government to house these people. But if you kick them all out, and I know they're talking about homesteading and things like that. Really, the people on welfare living in cities are going to go out and homestead, 50 acres or 100 acres. These people won't even get jobs. Seriously, folks. Just dumb. Now, I would be happy, as, what's it called? The thing the black people want all the time. Reparations. Yeah, if I could get reparations for all the taxes I've paid over the last 25, 30 years, I'd like 1,000 acres in Rocky Mountain National Park. I think that'd be a fair trade. So if anyone from, if my FBI guy who watches me because of my inappropriate comments about the government, if you could make that happen, I'd do some free financial planning for you. All right. Okay. Well, that's everything that I had for today. If anyone needs anything from me, please go to DSAFinancialGroup.com. All your financial planning needs can be addressed there. So feel free to reach out and get in touch. Reach out and touch someone. All right. Well, that's everything that I had for today. And like I said, if you need me, go to the website. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you again next time. Adios.